Hello everyone, this is Wolffire Productions here. I'm actually going to make a tutorial today for you all, which is pretty cool. I've been thinking about it for a while now, trying to figure out, if this is something I wanted to do, because I know, once you get a skill, it's kind of hard to want to just pass it on. But then, I was just thinking to myself, the more people know some things, the better. So today we're going to be retargeting Unreal Engine animations, and I'm going to show the process on how to import them into GTA 5 and the animations that you can get, so like the root movement, how to get the root movement to play and things like that. Alright, so let's get started here. So here we have, this is just what happens, like when you open up Blender. I'm pretty sure this is the first project that'll pop up. There's not really much going on, it's gray cube. So what you'll get, I'll have a link in the description to a Google Drive link. You should be able to install it, and it'll actually have my project with the base animation build and the Mixamo character and stuff, and which means you don't have to do all the pre-setup for the animation retargeting. I know that many people, especially me, when I first wanted to try to get into it, I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do just to even get started. But so once you download that folder, now you don't have to do that. So you can actually just go straight into it and just start retargeting animations. So let's see here. So what you want to do is you can click open, and wherever you exported the Blender project folder, you actually will be able to find this blend file. You just click that. I always double click it, but you can also click it and click open. And there you go. This should be the start setup. Now I did a particular setup for the animation retargets. I actually did this myself to kind of help the process, so you don't have to, it kind of eliminates all the small little details that you have to do, like readjustment or anything like that. So mine's probably going to look a little different to some other people who have been retargeting animations or things like that. But what I've done here is you have a Mixamo animation model right here. And what this does is this actually sets the position to the ground level of GTA 5 automatically. So once you retarget an animation, you can actually retarget it to the Mixamo animation, which will then snap it to the ground level, which is always here in GTA 5. And then of course you have the model that's already ready for animation. It's got all the parts all attached together. Like I said, it gets a little stressful trying to do this yourself, because sometimes you might forget a leg, or it doesn't all properly mesh together, so the animation might come out without good quality. So this setup really helps me to kind of see where everything is. And also I've got the overlay of the bone structure, and the Rokoko retargeting should already be open. Now I'm not going to do a tutorial on setting up Rokoko, because Rokoko actually has a nice tutorial on their webpage that they have to install the plugin. So this plugin right here won't be there when you first install Blender. You'll actually have to go to that link that's provided in the download file, download their software, make an account, and follow their tutorial page, because if you scroll down, it has a very nice you can scroll down, it's got images and a bunch of other things on how to actually install the plugin. So once you install that plugin though, you'll have this, which it probably won't look like this at first. They'll probably just be it'll be closed, or it'll just kind of say retargeting or Rokoko, which Rokoko tab isn't there either. So you'll probably have the Sollumz tools. I mean, definitely need to have Sollumz. That's actually something you'll definitely need as well, the Sollumz Blender tools, which you'll need to do that plugin as well, which I'll add a link to that as well in the download file. But once you use, so you have Sollumz, you have these, you'll probably have this probably pop up first. I don't know exactly what will pop up first, but once you have those plugins installed, you have those tabs, you'll go to Rokoko and retargeting, sign in, and then once you've signed in, it'll give you all these options, like the source target, the source or the target source, the bone structure, the bone list. I think it'll be closed, so it probably won't look like this, but I'll get to that in a second. Alright, so now let's get started here. So if you have a set of FBX animations, FBX is probably the best bet for retargeting, because if you don't have anything, if you have other ones, if you have, let's see, I think it's let's see here, so if you import, so if you needed a PSA, or the animation was a PSA file, or any of the other ones, see, these won't actually be there. I have a couple other plugins in Blender which allow me to load in different sets of animations and not just FBX. But you'll have FBX by default, I'm pretty sure. If not, you just need to enable it in the project stuff, which I don't believe I had to do that. So if you don't have FBX, it should be there. If not, pretty sure you just have to go to File, go to Edit, go to Preferences, and then enable the add-on for FBX. I believe animation, pose library. I think these should all be in there. Export Blender source tools, import. Yeah. Okay, so you'll have to actually find the import export, which is the FBX format one, which there should be automatically be a script, like a plugin for that, like a script plugin. So you just click the box, and then you click install, and then once you do that, it'll be there. So it should be down there. So if not, let me know in the comments, and I'll make another video add-on to kind of explain that part. I believe it should be there, but we'll just double check that. But basically, we're just gonna assume that that's there, and once you have that project there, we're just gonna keep moving. So what you do is you click import. You go to FBX, which should be here. Click this. Now I have a particular place for all my animation files, but we won't worry about that. Stuff. Alright, so here we are. I have my FBX files. As you can tell, I've got plenty of animation packs, which have all been really gifted to me by one of my good friends in our community, Kaz Productions, which big shout out to Kaz Productions. I mean, he really has helped our project a lot, and yeah, I really appreciate these gifts and stuff, because I know it costs money and things like that, and so he really has done so much for our community, and especially for my fighting mod, because it's just been wonderful getting to have plenty of animations to choose from to make my own fighting styles and brawling styles and stuff, which if you're new to our channel and don't know about that, I make custom brawling styles, but I won't go on a rant with that. So okay, well, yeah, we're gonna use the Drunken Master fighting style, which I actually have these animations already in there, which you can actually click this and it'll actually change the format. It can be, I think this is alphabetical. No, that's not alphabetical. This is alphabetical format, so if you want everything to be in alphabetical format, you can kind of click it, or I think this is just the default setup in the file. But if you go to takedowns, I'm going to do takedown 1, I believe, which I believe this is the right one. It is. This one I really like because it reminds me a lot of Sleeping Dogs, which I've been hugely inspired by, honestly, with the fighting mod, the fighting animations. Sleeping Dogs combat is what inspired me back in the day. But anyways, let's get on with the tutorial. So here we have a set of, we have the animation that we just loaded in. So when you load an animation, it should always spawn in this way. It should always put right here in the middle, which is where it needs to be, but that doesn't really matter. Like if the animation comes into here, most animations should actually spawn in the middle. If they're not in the middle, let's say if they spawn in over here, hopefully, I mean, some animations don't really work this way, but you should be able to adjust it with this, which will allow you to, reposition it to where you want it to be, and it should line up within the crosshair, which is crosshair right here. But anyways, that doesn't really matter. We'll just continue. But basically what you need to do is, in this setup, root is always Unreal Engine, so you put the root up here first, right? And then you put the target to be armature 001. Don't worry about the second armature, that's from previous decisions in this project. There is no 0 armature, so if you click it, it'll more than likely just say you can't retarget it. It's not a big deal if you click it, but always click 001. Click build bone list, which you all should be that way. It's if you click build bone list. Now I'm probably going to send a picture or add pictures in a download file for bone lists, because I believe it should automatically show up what Mixamo, like pretty much what this does is this is the source, and then this is the target. So it's gonna take like the middle finger of the other model or whatever, and it's gonna retarget the animation to like the other middle finger, like specific bones. This is like the process. They're the inner workings. It does need to have things in this side. If it doesn't, it won't retarget properly, or it might even, like, if you have like a left hand, like a left shoulder here where it's retargeting the clavicle right, it'll completely mess up the animation. So just make sure that the bone lists are the same, which I'm going to post the bone list for what I have in my system and the download file. But once you have this, you're going to have the root, the armature. You click retarget animation. All right, now it's going to look really weird because the Mixamo model always makes it look weird, but don't worry. Just go back up here to the source, click armature 1, and then make the target be head 00R. And once you do that, you click build bone list, make sure it's filled out like mine, which, like I said, you can slow down this video as I'm doing this, or you can go in the download and check out the pictures, because I'll have pictures of these as well. And then once you do that, you just click retarget animation. Now, auto scale is the worst thing. I don't know if it has a purpose, but auto scale should not be enabled. I had this enabled before, but if you have it enabled, it disables the root motion, which is why it was so hard for me to make root motion animations and retarget them. I don't really make them, but to retarget them, like, it took me a while because the root motion, for some reason, which is what allows the character to move forward in the animation, and it allows you to like move forward in the game or whatever, wouldn't actually retarget properly, and so it would completely remove it. And I was always confused, and for like the past couple months I was just thinking, oh well, I can't, maybe I just can't add root motion to stuff, I'll just have other people help me out. But no, it's because of this small little box. So make sure that this box, which I should by default in this project have it disabled, but if it's not disabled, make sure that is disabled. And then once it's disabled, click retarget animation, and that should actually be disabled for as well in the previous step, otherwise it won't retarget properly. But here we go. You click retarget animation. There you go. So now what you need to do is you have the animation. You have it all kind of, see, they're all moving together. But to kind of clear it up, I know that this isn't, this is probably confusing, but what you need to do is you need to go over here to armature 001, right click it, and then go to delete hierarchy. It should be right under the delete key. Click delete hierarchy. There you go. Scroll all the way down. Should be root, which is the next model. Right click it, delete hierarchy. So now you have just the GTA 5 model, and this, right now you can't see any of these. That's okay. Just click on the closest bone, which I always use. Like, it should be open for you as well in the project, but I always click one of the face bones because it allows me to kind of see, like, how much. I think these are called keys, like how many animation keys that are going to be needed. So like right now, by default, it's always set to 90. That's actually not the amount of time it needs for the animation to play properly. So like if you click this, see the animation is moving forward, but it cuts off too soon. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to however far this is. So you just drag the slider over. It looks to be 97. So you go to end, you click into it, and you type 97. You click enter, and there you go. Now you have the appropriate duration for the animation. See? All right. So now what you need to do, and now many people actually don't know this, but the model by default, when you import the GTA 5 like model in the static pose, and then also after retargeting, is actually facing the wrong way. Now I've seen a lot of people retarget animations, and I've downloaded some in the past where the animation is actually facing the wrong way. See, right now it's facing negative y-axis, or y-axis, not axis, axis. But that's actually the wrong way. So like if you were to load this completely into the game, and you try to load the animation in, now I'm sure with animation menu or tools or whatever, you can kind of rotate the character the right way, but it'll be facing the wrong way if you don't do this. So what I do is I just drag, so you just click, left click, drag, highlight the model, make sure you highlighted everything, right click it, go to mirror, click X global. There you go. Do the same thing again. Right click, go to Y global, there you go. Now it is facing the right way. So like the X and Y, you can also use the hand over here to kind of move it, over. But now that you have it facing the right way, now it's facing the Y angle. Now you have it facing the proper way, and the animation is unharmed. It actually works just fine like this. All right. So now the next step is you click one of the face bones or any bone really in the list here to where it highlights like this. This helps with the next step, I promise. But you click one of these bones, then you go to animation, which should bring up this menu. Now the menu normally doesn't look like this when you go into animation. That's because I've actually done all the setup that you need to have all of the proper layouts and the tools that you need, all kind of spaced out. You know, the left side you've got the strip manager, you down here you have the keys, and on the right you have the bone structure up here. So the setup's much easier in my opinion to kind of see where everything is. You don't have to click into different tabs and locate everything. It's all right here, and that was my doing. So yes, it saved me a lot of time. It actually helps me when I do like speed running sessions and I'm listening to like Brazilian funk and like, or you know, I actually really got into like Mexican funk as well, which many people don't know, but my family's from Mexico, so that's part of our culture as well. So I listen to like a lot of like, you know, reggaeton music and like a bunch of other things. But anyways, but that's a little bit about me. All right. So next thing you do is you go down to, so you have all this. I always like to highlight everything. You don't necessarily need to do that, but you just left click, drag, highlight to where it's all blue. And then you make sure this is blue. So that last step, put it into pose mode. If it's not in pose mode, let's say that you didn't do the last step and you just went straight to animation, it'll open like this. As you can tell, it's orange. That's incorrect. So what you need to do to get back into pose mode is you actually need to click this. Go into drop down, just click the drop down arrows on the left, under animation, under pose, click this drop down, and then click scale root. And once you do that, you can go up here and it should give you the option for pose mode. Go back to pose mode. All right, and that way you already have this open too, but that'll also go to, so let's say we go back, let's say you were listening to me and we did the proper method. So now what you do is you highlight everything like I did a second ago. And once you have that, you go to the dope sheet down here on the left. You click that, go to action editor. Now this saves a lot of confusion because this is actually the name of the animation. So you click this, and I always name this as base. Now I actually was taught by First Danikin. He sent a tutorial to me. He's the one on 5mods that goes by. So it's First Danikin. I think he goes by Boring Neptune on 5mods, or maybe that's his Discord. But he actually taught me how to do this. But I kind of skipped a step, or I like did my own kind of path, and pretty much like instead of the retargeting off of it, I just rename the base one to base. And so I know that's probably confusing, but you don't need to worry about that. But you just rename this to base like that. Next step, don't worry about all this down here. Just click right here, click this drop down. It says push down action. Click this button. Should bring down to base. All right. Now what you do is you go to the right under scene collection. You click these arrows, go down to pose like we did before. Click scale root. Now make sure that this is the only bone you click. So you got to make sure you just click scale root. Otherwise, if you click any other bone, it'll retarget, or it'll make a strip position, or it'll make another animation strip that you don't need. We're just focusing on the root because this is actually how you make the root movement. So what you do is you click pose, go to animation. So you go under pose, go under animation, go to bake action. Leave, if you have any of these others selected, just make sure it's what I have on the screen. So it's only selected bones, pose, you got the start frame, all that's done automatically. You just click OK. All right, now you have a action down here instead of base. Now it's okay. That's actually meant to happen. You click action, rename it to position. So position. Okay, you can actually do POS if you want to do that. It's shorter, but you can also just type out position. This will become evident later in the video, the base and position, because both those names are very helpful when you're putting together the final result. So now what you do, sorry if you hear puppies barking in the background, that's our puppies. We mentioned that in the last video. But what you do is you go under here and you click. So this looks confusing, don't worry. I actually figured out a quicker step. been from the tutorial I learned from. But what you do is you click these like locks. You just click them closed. So you just these top three X, Y, and Z. Just click those. Lock down those three. Right click anywhere in this lower location. Click delete keyframes. There you go. So now, next step makes the next step easier because now that you have all the clutter gone, you unclick the lock here, you left click, and you highlight from the second key, always the second key, leave one on the left, otherwise it'll delete Z location and that would be an error in the game, so don't worry. So don't worry, just make sure to do that. All right, now you just highlight here to where, all these one gray is on the far left and all these are bright orange or yellow, whatever. Now, what you do here is you right click, delete keyframes. There you go. Now, what you do is you go up here to the top. I almost did that with muscle memory because I'm so used to it. But you go up here to the top left under base, you right click it, and then click delete strips. There you go. So that deletes the connection to the previous one. And what you'll see here is you have the root movement. Hold on. I don't know why it's not playing. All right, well, normally you can press play down here. I'm not really sure why it's not letting me do that, but you can also press space. Yeah, there you go. I don't know why it wasn't letting me press play, but yeah, you'll see it looks weird. The animation's not there, but this is okay because that's actually supposed to happen. This is the position, so it's going to show the root position, the root movement. This is what determines the movement of the character in the game and where the character is going to end up, rather than just statically pushing back, moving it back to the left. Once the animation plays or moving back to center, it actually moves the character forward, which is honestly awesome. I think this is cool. I'm a little bit of a nerd, but I think this little feature is really cool because I didn't ever realize that it was two different animation strips, but that allow animations to push the character forward in the game. But I just think it's pretty cool. But anyways, if you go back to base, so what you do is you click this little drop-down menu right here, browse action to be linked or whatever. You click this, go to base. As you can tell, renaming it is awesome because you have all these other names, and these are non-existent. Don't worry about those. Those are not needed. So you click base, go back into here, right? And so you have just the scale root selected. You click this left drop-down menu, and now you have the same thing as the position. So what you do next, though, is different. It's not the same. What you do is you left-click over here on this side, and you highlight to the end, leaving one at the very end like we did before, but make sure like I said, you leave the one at the end, otherwise it'll delete the strip. And let's say that you accidentally have this happen, right? Let's say you highlight all of them instead and you right click and you click delete keyframes, and oh no, it's gone. No, that's that's not good. Oh no. Well, what you do is you just go up to edit and you click undo, and it'll just let you undo's right here. You can click Control Z, but I don't really do that. I just click undo. But then you just start it again. So you left click, you go over here, you make sure that there's two grays, on the left, and you right click, and then you click delete keyframes, and there you go. Now what this does is this removed the root movement from the base. This is where the animation still plays, which is kind of doing that glitch again. Don't worry. Alright, it doesn't do this when you actually have it. I think it's just where I'm screen recording. But yeah, I'm gonna click space. But yeah, you'll see the animation actually has all the right proper, movements in the arms, the head. So it's all still there. But if you notice, it's in the static position because there's no root motion in the Blender viewer now, which is okay because position is our root motion, if that makes sense. So we'll go back. All right, so now you're done. Now you're done with this segment, right? So you go to layout, you just click layout, and it should bring you back to where you were before, which is really handy. So you don't have to worry about losing where you were or things like that. Now what you do is you go to the right side. Now this step is crucial to if you're trying to use animations for like story characters or any other characters that have facial animations, like a different facial structure than the MP model. Because initially, whenever I was retargeting animations, I didn't realize that you had to select all of the facial bones and then delete these keys, right? Because what would end up happening was I would assign a brawling style that had a bunch of new animations to the story ped, and what would happen is Michael or Franklin or Trevor, when they go to punch, their face would distort, and like it was the most bizarre thing. You have a character's head just invert and go to an opposite position, which I might add a screen, like a picture on the screen, but it's pretty bizarre. So you don't want that to happen. You don't want that bizarre situation to happen. So what you want to do is you want to left click. Make sure you always left click first, because sometimes it'll have like another uh, bone selected, like skull root, and you don't want to delete the keys to that. So you just click left click here. Now on your keyboard, you'll want to hold Control, which is the control button. You can use, I believe there's multiple locations on your keyboard, but click the Control button, which I'll put a text on the screen. You click Control button, you hold that down, and then you just start left clicking all of these face bones. Anyone with the FB on the left, right? You just keep going. Now you'll have to unclick the Control and use like uh, your mouse scroller thing. I don't, I apologize. I don't really know like the names of specific things because I'm always a console player, always has been. But anyways, so what you do is, once you scroll up to where you can see the top, this is where it ends. You just go back, hold Control, left click all the rest of these bones here. All right, I do this pretty quickly, but you can take your time. Make sure you select them. Now, let's say like you're selecting it and you select it again, like that deselects it. So you're like holding Control and you select it again, deselects it. Just make sure that before you click, you hold Control. Otherwise, it'll deselect all the rest, and you'll have to do it again, which sometimes is a little bit tedious, but it's not that hard to go back and just select them all. Now you can check on the left side down here under Summary. You can see like all the face bones are selected. You don't. I always do like a quick like down up to make sure I only have face bones selected, just scanning my eyes over it. But that's when I'm like speed running stuff. All right, and then you right click, you click delete keyframes, and boom, there you go. Now that pretty much fixes that weird face bone glitch with animations. So that's honestly a great thing. And then what you do to kind of finalize the animation is you click scale root, which will bring up this. And what you do is you click Sollumz Tools, and you click under Animation Tools, which I don't know if this is closed, but you click under Animation Tools and click Create Clip Dictionary Template. Now to say Clip Dictionary, I always do like my own thing with these animation names, because what I do is I pay homage to like the creators, or I do a like I just name like the group of animations. So like for example, these were Drunken Master animations. I believe I can't remember the author for them because it's been a while since I retargeted these. But what you do is I would put like the author's name up here. So I would do is like first I'd do the person who retargeted, so that's me. So I put Wolffire, so WFire underscore. And normally I would put like the author's name. So let's say like if the author's name was like ZRamster Z, I just put ZRam, ZRam Z or something like that. Or I'd put, sorry, this is in the way, ZRam Z, or I'd put so let's say I don't know the author's name, or like it just escapes my mind. I want to kind of get these done. I'll put like Drunken Master. I'll just put DM. So like Drunken Master. This is a paired takedown, so I put underscore paired underscore takedown. I believe it was takedown 2, but we'll just say takedown underscore attack. All right, so now this is the attack animation. So I always specify this. It helps like if you're gonna make like an animation list, which I'll explain how to do that too. But let's say like you want to make an animation list and you have like all those different things that you want to do. Or like you want to add on to one so that we can view it in Ped Viewer. I'll get to all that as well and how to do that. But you can name this anything. It doesn't really matter. Whatever suits your fancy, you just put whatever name you want there. But once you have the name typed out, you just left click anywhere over here, and oh no, it's gone. Don't worry. Just just scroll down. It's down here at the bottom. So what you do, it depends on the name. So it'll be alphabetical, but normally it's always down here if you put Wolffire. But then you click drop down menu, right? And you have this segment. Now, I actually was using AnimKit for 3ds Max for the longest time before using Blender, which it was really hard to kind of learn something new because I didn't really want to have to do that because I was really like understanding AnimKit a lot better. But since I've understood Blender, it's really not that confusing. Blender is actually one of the best. Honestly, I think it's one of the best software for these animation retargets because it allows a lot more, especially with root editing, like root motion, like adding root motion animations. I don't know how to do that for 3ds Max, but I learned for Blender. So Blender has that Rokoko plugin, which is amazing. Shout out to the creators of that, and Sollumz, of course, which allows like animations and stuff to even be edited, so that's insanely cool. But what you do is you click this, the first one here, which gives you the option for animation tools. It's not, you just click under it, click create clip and create animation. It doesn't really matter which order you click these, they'll always pop down the right drop down menu. So what you do now is you open them up, see there's the animation, open this up, there's the clip. So what you do to kind of help distinguish between these two is because these two, animation and the clips, you just double left click this so it highlights it. I always click Control C, which is to copy, or you can just right click it. Oh no, you can't right click it. Okay, so yeah, that's why I do this. So you just double click with left click to highlight, click Control C, which will copy it. Go down to animation, double left click that animation right here, and to rename it, click Control V to paste. Now we're not completely done. So now that it's pasted the name, you just click Shift underscore anim, and that's the animation that labels animation under it. Then you go back down here, you double click clip, go here, Control V underscore clip, just like that. And now you have the distinguish between an animation and a clip. Now, you don't need these for it to function properly. It's just, it kind of helps my eyes to see what I'm looking at and helps clear up confusion when you're editing XMLs. But I always do anim and clip under all animations and all clips because it also helps to pay homage to like what is an animation and what is a clip. So anyways, but we'll go back to this. So now you just click on this. Now you'll go down to under here and you'll go to that orange square with the highlight, so object properties. You'll go there, then you'll go under Sollumz and you'll have this layout. So now what you do is you double left click the anim name here, you click Control C, go under hash, click Control V. Now you just paste it there. Go to frame count. Now the frame count is always what number is here. So you have the end 97, so your frame count is 97 because it's 97 frames for the animation. Now you go down to base and you click base. Now see, this is where the naming was handy, right? So in actions it says base. Well, now you don't have to go through and look at, oh, well, was it Armature 001 or Armature Mixamo or Unreal Engine Armature, whatever it was before. So now you can just know that base is base and position is position. So you go base and then you go under root position and you click position. So now you have base and position, which, it ties it together in the final animation, which allows you to move in game, which is pretty cool. So now that's all you got to do for the anim. So now you go to clip. Do the same thing, double left click, Control C, Control V, Control V. Now you got it under hash, under name is the same. Now duration, there's a little bit of math involved. Now I don't know if it's going to show my calculator, so I don't think it's going to do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm pulling up my calculator. You're going to type in 97. So you type in 97, which is the number of frames that you have, and then you divide it by 30. Now you always divide it by 30 because 30 is the frames per second that plays in GTA 5. It actually allows animations to play at a certain speed or interval, and you can actually adjust the rate in the XML, so you don't need to worry about changing that 30. Just always divide the frames by 30. So 97 divided by 30. On my calculator, you click equal sign. Now it's gonna come out with this big number, which is 3.2333333, and it just keeps going. But you click on that number, you click Control C, or however you copy it. You can actually just right click and then click copy, where it's your calculator tool on your computer. Then you go to duration, which you select duration, which once you left click it, you don't have to double left click, you just left click it once and it'll come up with this. Click Control V. As you can tell, see it's 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, but it'll actually do the rest for you. You just click it and it'll auto adjust it, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, you'd think you'd be done, but you're not. So you have to click Add a new animation link, which will build this. So you click Add new animation link, it'll put linked animations. You just left click it, and it should tell you will fire DM paired takedown anim. So now this is the anim. Like, see, the anim and clip allows you to differentiate. So you click anim, and now what you do is you have the starting frame, which is 0, so you always leave that alone. End frame is 97. All right, so now your animation is done. You just left click the top here. You always got to left click Wolffire DM paired takedown attack, which is the XML name. You just left click that, right click. This actually helps you, so you can actually just click control and then just select all of these, but I always just do it this way because it's quicker. What you do is you just right click and then you click, go under select, I click select hierarchy. Now you've got it all selected. So now you go to Sollumz tools, which you should have already up by default because you were editing like the stuff over here, but you go to export Codewalker XML. Now you can do this a different way. You can actually go to file, and you can go to under file, export and all that, but it's much easier just to click this button. You just click export Codewalker XML. Now what you need to do is, I'll go ahead and show, like you go to here. So let's say you want to export it in the Blender project, so Blender Retarget tool, so you got Blender project. You can actually make like your own folder if you want to like name specific packs. So you know, we're back in the Blender project thing. I'm pretty sure I'll skip over that initial part because it did kind of show some of our folders and stuff, but we'll go back to the Blender Retarget tools folder. You click the, you know, Blender project, you left click. Now you can actually create a folder, so you can go up here, create new dictionary. You can do it all within Blender, which is nice, but you just click create new dictionary. So you have whatever folder you want. So let's say you want to retarget this pack of animations, so you just want to call it like Drunken Master Animation Pack, like that. And you just go straight in there. You double left click to kind of enter it. So if you click it once, it just highlights it, but you could double left click, go in here. Now this is crucial, right? So now you have no animations here, don't worry, but you actually have to click selected objects. So it says include limited to, click the box that says selected objects. If you don't do that, it'll actually export the entire like object of like the scene. You don't need that, you just need this. So you just click selected objects, export Codewalker XML, and there you go. Now you've exported. It'll tell you the time that it took up on the left. You can always double check to make sure, because you know, before you leave this page, you can always double check to make sure that you have these set up down here. You know, it's like, okay, base position. You can always check to make sure you have duration, or like clips are in the proper place and things like that. And if you know, let's say you made an error, let's say you forgot to put base or you put position in both of these, you can always go back, change position to base, right click it, select hierarchy, export, and just it'll bring up the previous location, and you just click export again. So you know, it'll export it again at the same time frame or whatever, and it'll update whatever it needs to do. And so yeah, so now that pretty much solidifies it. You've exported an animation, it has root motion, and I will go now to the next step, which is adding it to Codewalker and being able to view it in Ped Viewer. So we'll go ahead and do that. All right, this concludes the Blender portion. I'm back and just gonna let you all know the next step. All right, so here inside the Blender project file, I actually went ahead and did this. It probably didn't pop up during the actual tutorial because I hadn't done it yet, but I added the bone list images, so you can actually see images of the bone list that you have here, which will actually be helpful if they don't pop up, which they should by default, but just in case, I put them there for reference in case anyone needed them. But anyways, this is where we actually exported the XML, and as you can tell, this is the XML file format of the YCD animation. Now what you'll need though from here, which I won't do a full like explanation on this tutorial, but I actually put, if you go back to Blender project, let's see, you go back to Blender Retarget tools, under here is where you'll find the links that I provided, which will allow you to see where all the like different things that you'll need for this tutorial to get all the things to function. Sorry, it took me a long to get that out, but anyways, what you'll find in these links though is here. I'm gonna try to switch the screen here and see if it'll let me share it. Let's see here. Alright, so it's actually not letting me share my screen for that, but I'm actually just gonna, I just did this an alternative way. I actually went ahead and did a screen capture, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the image on the screen now. But in the image, you should actually find you should see Blender software. It's located at the top, which should have a link, where you can download Blender. That's where, if you don't have the actual software itself. You also have the Rokoko plugin, you could download the Rokoko plugin there, which all these links are going to be in the install file, so you don't have to like try to type them in from this video. And then of course Codewalker, there's a link to their Discord. I actually suggest downloading it from the Discord. You can actually find it on 5mods as well, but I suggest downloading it from Discord because the 5mods one, I'm not sure if it's updated to the most recent, but you can actually go to their releases section on their Discord and download the latest release of Codewalker, which will actually include Ped Viewer. So like I know in the past I went to download Codewalker from 5mods, and Ped Viewer, which is an external software that comes with Codewalker when you download it, it actually isn't there. So I actually decided to download the actual most recent version, which is on their Discord, and that's where you can get some extra features. You can also, it's one of the most it's much more functioning. It has less crashes, which I've not really even experienced a crash. So I mean, there's that. And of course, Ped Viewer is what I use to, if you've seen some of my animation showcases from the past, like from Unreal Engine or Mixamo animation showcases, from like Retarget animations, this is where I can load up a model and showcase the animation, which I'll actually go ahead and do that now in this next step. You can also find before I do that though, you can also find a tutorial under the installation here, which I put the link there as well. You can actually go under their Sollumz at github.com. You can actually go under their Sollumz portion, scroll down to installation, and it also explains how to install the script into Blender. So I'm not going to do that in this tutorial because it kind of saves us some time, since I know the last section was pretty hefty in time, but I'm trying to hit all the details, so I hope you all are sticking with me and seeing the full tutorial here on explaining all these different things. But now I need to put a link there too. I'm going to put a link as well and put an image on there. But I actually use a really nice notepad called Notepad, I think it's Notepad++, which is actually really nice because it puts it up in a nice viewer and you can kind of load different animations in at once. And it's actually much better than just like the base computer's notepad. You can use the base computer's notepad, but I'll explain why when we get in there. But it actually will allow you to like close all the different like tags and properties, and like it allows you to see the XMLs a lot better, in my opinion. But I will go ahead and put a link up there now so you can see that. All right, you can just go to that link and find where Notepad++ is, but we'll be hopping into that next here. All right, welcome back. So we're actually I'm gonna go ahead and do this screen recording here. If it looks a little odd, I'm gonna try to adjust this in the viewer to not show like our entire desktop, but pretty much what I've done is, here, I'll go ahead and pull this up. So basically, once you install Notepad++, I'll go ahead and close this off. Once you install Notepad++, you'll actually be able to right-click this and then click Edit with Notepad++. And when you do that, it brings up this menu. Now the reason why I like Notepad++ so much is because you can actually, like, it gives you a lot of cool features. Like you can actually like minimize clips or minimize animations, and you can like kind of adjust, that sort of thing. Or you can minimize specific items, and that allows you to like copy them over and put them into like another XML, which is how I'm able to make like multiple animations be in one YCD file. It's just by minimizing them, copying, pasting, things like that. But right now I'm just going to show you how to just add like single animations. But I actually can go ahead and show you how to add two as well, but we'll just go ahead and do this first. So basically, now that you have this animation, so you got like a paired takedown, which I can't believe I did this, but I think it was just where I was editing, but this is not how you spell takedown at all. So I don't know why on earth I did that.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
Idiot sandwich what?
An idiot sandwich, Chef Ramsay.
Kind of weird. But this actually kind of works because I'm able to show you another feature that Notepad has, and also just like really how to edit names. So let's say that you do this, right? Let's say you notice like after you export it that you have a simple error like this where the letters are changed or you misspelled something. This is the actual name that pops up in Ped Viewer. So like you have like, how normally you can go down to like a selection menu, which I'll show that in a second if you haven't seen our previous videos, but you can actually see the names that pop up. Now I'm going to go ahead and change this to the appropriate name. So we're going to do those. We're going to go to takedown. So we're going to spell that properly. We're going to go take down, attack. But the cool thing is now that you have this, actually, you can now just copy it. So you double left click so it's green. You copy, double left click here, and then click paste, and there you go. And then you got like, you know, the quick edit there. You got like an issue here. Now I'm actually gonna do this because this actually might be able to help you. I'm not sure, you know, sorry, my dogs are making noise again in the background. But anyways, so pretty much what you can do here, you can actually do this, which I think is interesting. But let's say that you have like a big list of animations and all of them have like a similar error, right? You can actually click this. You can go to edit, you can go to search, you can go to find, and it'll bring up this. You can actually do a quick replace by selecting this, right? So you have to find what, so you can find where this is. So you have like this animation, and you want to replace it with the proper one. So what you're going to do though is you're going to go here to where it says replace, and you go take down, so it's the appropriate name. You can actually match whole words, you can match case, but in this instance we'll just match the whole words, which is, it doesn't really matter. In this instance it doesn't really matter, but you can do this to define your replace method a lot better, which is very helpful. It actually helped me a lot in adding in, if you saw the word beast there, but I haven't showcased it yet, but I've made a new beast inspired, like, you know, the beast character in GTA 5 Online. I made like a werewolf / beast brawling style in GTA 5, and I'm actually going to showcase that here soon, which I'm excited about. But it looks really cool. But this is actually how I was able to add in a new brawling style. It actually helped save me a lot of time, was using the replace option to like use what I had edited previously, make new placeholders and all that jazz. But let's see here. So what I'm gonna do is, so now that you have like the find what and you have the name that you want to replace it with, you just click replace all. And if you notice on the left side, it says, you know, it shows like the appropriate animation, like it says the name changes here, and then it also tells you 2 occurrences were replaced, so that's appropriate because there was only 2 animation names, that it was only listed twice. So there you go. Now that we've fixed it, you know, we fixed the animation, now you just click up here, you can click save. Or you can click file and save if you want to do it that way. But I always like to click this little square because it saves time. Alright, so now that you've done this section, now you know the animation works properly, it's rate. This is where I was talking about where you could change the rate. You can actually lower this. This is, normally 1 is like the appropriate rate for certain animations, but not all of them are like this. Some export with other specific rates, but you don't normally have to edit this. Now some Unreal Engine animations will export at 60, I think it's like 60 frames per second, 50 frames, God, I'm just gonna cut that out. Anyways, you can actually, for some reason, they export at 60 frames per second, which for some reason actually like whenever you go to add it in, the rate like drops down to like 0.225, which makes the animation go super slow. But you can fix it quickly by just putting like 1.0. And then you can also check it in Ped Viewer to make sure that the animation is moving at the appropriate speed that you want. And then of course the root motion stuff auto-corrects, so whatever rate you change, the root motion and the animation both move at the specific rate. Alright, so now that that's done, you can get rid of it from here, which keeps Notepad up. I'm sure to close it. But pretty much once you have edited the XML, you can actually go to the RPF Explorer here. This is actually Codewalker. It looks a lot like OpenIV, but it has a lot of different other features. So like XML editing, or import and export of XMLs, which OpenIV doesn't have that feature. It has a couple other different ones too. But basically what you need to do is you need to go to mods, X4C, go to in-game, and you can go to clip _ melee at. Now, I always use melee because melee is is where I add like all the different like melee animations. So like when I go to add in, like I actually just completed a kickboxing moveset, which I haven't made a video on yet, but as you can tell it's a pretty big file, so I'm excited to show like all the different animations that are included in that. I'm going to release it to my Discord soon, but this is where you can list, like add all the YCDs XML. So now to add it in though, what you do is you go up here to edit mode, you left click it, you just click here, it says a warning, it's fine, just click yes. Now what you do is you take your XML file and you just hold left click and you drag it over to where it has that plus sign right there under your mouse, and then you drop it. There you go. Now the YCD is imported. You can also do it another way too. You can actually click right click, you go to import XML, Now, what to do from here though is you can actually pull up Ped Viewer, which I'm going to do now. So now that you've installed Codewalker, normally Ped Viewer is listed like underneath the files in Codewalker, and it's labeled as Ped Viewer. And you just double left click it, and it'll open it up like this. Give it some time to load. See, it's scanning all of the different files and stuff that you have in here, which is pretty cool. And it always spawns in the, let's see here. So here, this spawns in a model with animations, and you can tell they're doing an idle here. You can actually go, you click this drop-down menu, you can go to Ped, you can kind of change what model you want to look at. So like, we're going to look at the, so let's say that you want to, choose just a random character. We'll just use the golfer. So you have this guy, right? You got the golfer character. So now what you're going to do though is now that the animation is in there, you can actually type in the name. So you go to Clip Dictionary, you actually go to Wolffire, so you go to Wfire, and here you have the Drunken Master paired takedown animation. So you click this, and you go under Clip. Now see, no animation's playing yet. That's okay, because you actually just need to go down to Clip, and you click the name of the clip that you have. There you go. So it looks like from here, oh no, there's no root motion. Well, actually, you click Enable Root Motion, and this is how you check to see if the animation has root motion in GTA 5. And as you can tell, the character has root motion. The animation is there. Now that this is how you have single animations. So you have a single animation name, you have Clip Dictionary, you have the clip, and I'm going to show that next, how to make like multiple animations be in one. And we'll just use like the one animation and just kind of copy it over, so that way you can kind of have an idea. So what I do is you go back to your XML, and let's say you have multiple animations that you want to import at once. So you click copy, you click paste, and let's say now we have like this. So you just right click it. So now that you have a paste, you right click it, you go to rename, remove this on the side because that'll cause an error if you try to import it. You just remove that, and then you can actually name this initial YCD to whatever you'd like. So let's say that you want to have, say like I'm just going to call it like Wolffire at melee at Unreal _engine _test, right? So now you have like the actual, now you have like a proper YCD animation, clip dictionary. So now you can actually right click it, go back to edit mode, and you can tell that the animation's in there, but the name has changed. Now what you need to do next is, let's say that you have a bunch of like other attacks, right? You got multiple attacks here. You have, let's say you have like attack 1, attack 2, attack 3, or just other different animations. You can actually right click the other YCD, right? You click edit with Notepad. And now what's cool about Notepad, plus is you actually can hop between the two variations. So you have the YCD you just created, and you have the other animation that you're wanting to add into this YCD. So you don't have to do this. I'm just kind of showing this as a reference, that if you want to add like a different one, like let's say that, you want to add, let's say you have another attack, so you attack 02 or attack, O2. So now you have like an O2 attack. Now if you want to add like this separate animation into here, all you have to do is, I always do it this way, but you can actually this one isn't that long, but you just left click, hold left click, drag it down like this, right click, click copy, go to this one, and then under, what you need to do is you need to think of this as like a hierarchy. So you have like clips, and you have the item. So what you need to do is you need to go at the bottom of item here, and you need to click enter, so that way it drops it down, right click, and then paste. So this is kind of like a container, like how like you use containers, right? You put stuff in there, you put the lid on it, things like that. This is the clips container, pretty much. So now you have a second animation in there, but you're not really done yet. You have also under animations this whole other container, which is what constructs the animation itself. So what you'll need to do is you just need to minimize the animation that's there, so it kind of looks a little more like decluttered. Then you go back over here to the right, and now you have under here another animations. Let's say that it's anim _02. So let's say that you have this other animation here, which we'll have to, don't worry about this. I'm gonna go ahead and just add this in here. So this is how you kind of copy and paste it. If you don't do this, you can kind of see there's a whole bunch of text that you would have to drag, and I've done that before. It's stressful. So you just minimize it like this. That's why, like, if you were doing it in original Notepad, you'd have to scroll all the way down holding left click, and it just saves you a lot of hand cramps. To be honest, it really was painful. I did that for the longest time, and it was not fun. So now what you do is you need to hold left click and scroll down to here. What you need to do now is, it looks like, oh, it's only got item in this. Well, no, it actually has everything selected on the inside. So, you know, you can kind of unfold it and check to see if it has everything selected. So now what you do is you right click, you go to copy, you go back to your containers that you want to add all the animations into. You go under animations, you click enter. Then now on this, underneath this, you just right click, click paste. And there will always be like this space down here. If you did it the quick method, you just backspace until it connects. So then you got item down here. You know, there's no spaces in between there now. So now what you do now is you scroll up. Now you're at the very top. You can tell the animation is the same as this animation. That's why I went back and changed it, so that way it'll play in the Ped Viewer. But now you just minimize this and you minimize this. And you can actually minimize all these if you want to kind of see it, but you don't necessarily have to minimize them. You can just leave them open if you really want to. It doesn't affect the importation process at all. So, but once you have this though, you just click that little, you know, blue square, you click save, and there you go. Now that you have this, you can actually go here, which you don't need to worry about this, but you just kind of close that off. That's like if you have other animations here that you're adding in, you can click X and close it off. So you just have this. But it's done, so you click save, you do this, click X on Notepad. Now what you do is you just drag the same way, you just left click, drag it over into where you're going to put it, so like, you know, the melee at, and then you drop it. Alright, and then under here, now you see there's Wolffire at melee at Unreal Engine at test. And it has like tells you what size of the file is, things like that. So if you load up Ped Viewer, which if you kept Ped Viewer open, it doesn't refresh. So you do need to click the X like I did before, and then reload it once you add another clip dictionary into the Codewalker. So you need to make sure you do that. All right, so now we'll just keep it with the beach pet, or yeah, because it doesn't really matter. You can just use default if you wanted to. You type in Wolffire, and you'll see it says melee at Unreal Engine test. It doesn't really say the full name, but you can actually pull this out like this if you want to see the full name. So you just that's the kickboxing. We'll go Wolffire, Unreal Engine test. So now you can see the full name. You click that. Alright, and the drop down menu now has two animations. So you have, like, you know, it's the same animation in this, but you see there's this one, and then you go to attack 2. It's the same animation. It looks like they blend together, but you can even check that goes here. There you go. And those are two distinct separate animations and one clip dictionary. And that allows you to, you know, once you export a bunch of animations, let's say you make a whole animation pack, and you put them all inside the project, like where you have them all listed under the Drunken Master animation pack, like that. You can just, you know, copy them over, you know, put them in that one XML file, put them in here, and then you can view them in here, and you can see that they're working or not working. If you go to enable root motion and they just kind of idle like this, then it means that you may have missed the root motion step, or you need to go back, which I've done that before, or maybe like you go to, you can't really tell the face bone glitch, you know, like let's say that you forgot to delete all the face bone stuff, you can't really tell, because even if you load in like a player, let's see here, where they at? You're like, they're called player 1 and player 2, so I gotta find where they are. There we go, past them. So like, yeah, let's say, you know, you load in Franklin, right? You know, and let's say you import, let's say where you try to load the animation. Oh yeah, that looks really scary when you go to load it in. But you click this, and then, you know, it loads up. So you'll be able to see the animation, but it doesn't really, like, the eyes always look weird in Ped Viewer. So you can tell the eye bones, like, I think I can kind of pause it here. Yeah, you see, look at Franklin's eye, like his eye's like popping out or something like that in Ped Viewer. It just, yeah, there you go. That's a good representation. But anyways, it's pretty scary looking, but you can actually kind of see that it looks like that, but it doesn't look like that in the game. That's the good thing. Any errors that you have, I didn't mention this either, but whenever you're using like the MP model, like that had like the issues with like the thighs inside of the viewer, you don't need to worry about that, because once you export it and you import it into Ped Viewer, the models don't mimic those weird like hip movements that you could see in Blender. But like here in Ped Viewer, like it shows like the appropriate animation with everything working properly. So you don't necessarily need to worry about that. Well, this pretty much concludes it. I appreciate you all taking the time to listen to this tutorial. I know it's quite long and there's probably a lot of different questions that you might have, but I'll put a link in the description as well to our Discord community. So if you have any extra questions, make an assistance forum post, please. When you go in there, go to the assistance forum on the left, make a post and name like what type of issue you need, and I'll have myself or some of my other moderators come in, maybe help you. But I could definitely help with these animation questions that you need. The cool thing about XML editing is you can actually export, like from here, you can actually export GTA 5 animations. Like you can actually export any of these type of XMLs and add animations to them, or you can replace them, which I think is really interesting. Like, you know, you can actually go, like what this means is if you have a bunch of like, so let's say you go to damages, yeah, like you have like all these different damage animations. You can copy the name, paste the name. Looks weird. You can kind of paste the name, but you can kind of see like it has all these specific like damaging like animations or like KO animations, which actually play in the game itself. But you can replace all of these animations. I mean, if you actually have animations that you made or retargeted from Unreal Engine, I mean, you could literally like take all these animations that you have and replace them. And when you replace them, like the game doesn't register that they've been replaced. So technically, like it thinks that everything's the same. So when you go to play the game, if you replace the animations, you can actually like have a completely different animation play, and the game will load it in with all of the appropriate assets and everything else. And really, like it'll set up a lot of it'll just like it'll you could do a lot of cool things with XML editing. So if you want any further tutorials on replacing animations, let me know in the comments or let me know in our Discord, and I can do that as well. But it'll take some time because I have some other projects I want to work on and things like that. But tutorials, you know, if there's any questions you all have, I mean, I'll make whatever y'all need. So I appreciate you taking the time, and I'll catch you later.